All right, Chris, first and foremost, thank you very much for joining us on this episode of the Spider Success Podcast. I'd love for you to take the opportunity now to just kind of introduce yourself, graduation year, major, and team that you played for.
Chris Anderson, class of 2000, played football from really 95. My final season was 99. Had the opportunity to be a captain, won a championship during that time. And yeah, major was health sciences, and my minor was in secondary education.
All right, secondary education. There we go. So what's your current position and company that you work for and the path you took to get there?
Oh, the path I took to get there. So currently I'm in medical sales. The name of the company is Sight Sciences. So essentially it is my duty to train surgeons on new technologies, new medical devices in the industry. That is not where I began this journey. I began this journey coming out of University of Richmond as a high school teacher. I spent 7 years as a high school teacher here in Henrico County, Highland Springs High School for the most part. And I was a football coach and coached track as well, and then made the transition.
All right. And so when I first met you, you told me a story about how you made that transition. And it was such a captivating story for me that I felt like I needed to have you come and share that with our student athletes. Could you just kind of dig in deeper how you made that transition from where you are, from being a teacher to where you are now?
Absolutely. So making the transition was really just kind of understanding options. And first of all, teaching was a good experience for me. I don't want to say I ended up in teaching, but I was kind of driven into that realm because I was in health sciences and really just came in, just give me a little bit of background. Two-parent home, great parents. I wouldn't say I was first generation college, but I was first generation traditional college. My father was a Vietnam vet, and he was one of the first to take advantage of the GI Bill. So he went to school later in life. So, I mean, he was grown, married, mature, and had an idea what he wanted to do. For me, I was the first one to come through who right out of high school and just going, and then you throw in the fact that I played football as well. So it was a unique experience. So I come out of school and I make the decision, kind of fall into the decision to be a teacher. I'm doing that. And essentially I get married and we're going to have a child. And at that point, I knew just financially we wanted to do some different things. And to be quite honest, I enjoyed coaching. Teaching was okay. I didn't hate it, but I felt like there were some other things I might want to do and want to experience. I didn't think I had a skill set to do anything. This is all I knew. This is all I had been doing. So initially, I'm just talking to friends, talking to family, and the idea of going back to reach out to the Career Center that came up. And I'm like, well, most schools don't do that. Most schools, you have a year or two window to do that. University of Richmond was actually one of the few schools that is an open door invitation for the rest of your life. You might want to check on that now, but at the time, that's where we were. That's where we were. I'd say, okay, well, fine. I mean, I don't know what can they do. What are they going to do? Well, how does this work? So I make the call, and it was great. They immediately hey, name. Okay, tell me a little about yourself. Chris Anderson, class of 2000. They set the appointment. Come on in. And this is the big thing, RD. Like I didn't even know where the Career Center was located. Okay, so
you had to get a map.
So I had to look around and say, so can you tell me exactly where that is? And there was a giggle, and it's like, come on in. And I went in. We did some tests. I guess I guess it would be career test, personality test. They could get a little deeper in that. I took some tests, had some conversations, talked a little bit about my experience as an athlete, my experience as a teacher, and my experience as a student. We go through that. All went well. And they came back and said, well, here's a couple of industries and fields that we think that would be a good fit for you. Looked at those and I was like, okay, which ones do you like? I don't know. I like a couple of them. And then they went through the process of helping me get some informational interviews set up. I did those. And then I kind of narrowed it down. I said, man, I think at that time, I think I was looking more pharmaceuticals, but medical sales looks like that might be something I'm interested in. I said, well, great. We have a number of people in that field help me work through my resume. And outside of that, the bigger thing on top of just writing a resume, they helped me recognize that there was a skill set that I had developed as a student, as an athlete, and as a teacher. There was a skill set that I just didn't even recognize and truly,
You hadn't thought
yeah,
of.
just hadn't thought of. Didn't realize I had that, or how to express that, how to make the most of that in the interview process. So we put the resume together and we started working on a little interview process. Um, from that point on, I went and started digging into my University of Richmond Spider Network.
Right.
So talking to players I had played with, family, friends, students, and the Career Center was helping me as well. And saw some opportunities. And man, I'm telling you, people, it can take a long time to get into that field. I had 3 or 4 interviews, and I had 2 offers. And so, in a matter of months, I had gone from a teacher to a new field, was able to walk away. And obviously there was a significant difference in, salary and pay and commission, but there was no fear because I realized that, it fit my personality and there was an interest there and I was excited. So that's the long story long, RD.
Yeah, yeah. But it's also pretty exceptional that you were able to go back and they helped you be productive in finding a new industry to work within. And you said you were in teaching. How long were you out of college before you?
7 years. I'd been out. I
7
had been
years.
out and teaching for 7 years, and again, the biggest thing I learned from that situation was just transferable skills.
Right.
Just as an athlete, there's things we're doing. There's a life we're living that we just take for granted. You come in and you do what you're told. You do what you got to do. But for instance, like time management,
Yeah.
the schedule that you're managing as an athlete, as a student, as an athlete, and then your social life. God forbid you have a girlfriend on top of athletics and
Right.
academics. You manage in a real schedule there, sir. So it was things like that. It was the idea of competition,
Mhm.
right? Because it's sales generated. It's sales was what I'm in. It's quota generated. So the idea that, hey man, when I go to practice, just to practice, I'm trying to earn the opportunity to get on the field.
Right.
Then when I get on the field, it's a high pressure environment and I'm trying to earn the win. I'm competing every day. So that's a skill that is just ingrained in you as an athlete. We do that. That is our life.
Right.
And just understanding that that's not the life that a lot of people live. So coming out and moving into that corporate structure, sales environment, it felt really natural to me. There was no intimidation. A lot of things that intimidated some didn't intimidate me. Then I had a great educational background from the health sciences, just understanding, the anatomy and things like that. And then lastly, I had spent 7 years in education. So one of the big, and that also came from a secondary education background, understanding, hey, I go into a classroom, there's 35 kids. I have a total of 200 kids. Those are different personalities. They come in with different agendas. They come in with, you don't know what's coming in on those 35 kids. You don't know what's coming in as they come in that door. You don't know what's on their plate. But I have a lesson and a goal and a mission, you know what I mean, that I need to reach, obtain, to get to. By the time, basically, I have 200 students. By the time we finish that year, they need to have to understand these things. So being able to communicate with those different personality types, those different backgrounds, different everything, just the true diversity in that was a skill set as well. So I had no understanding of any of that
Yeah.
when I
Yeah.
walked in.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I'm a teacher. This is what I do. I love the kids. And I kind of went in just like, I don't know what you can do, but just be honest, my confidence wasn't extremely high that the Career Center would be able to help me. And not only they helped me, but they did a lot for my entire life.
Yeah. And I think you hit on a very good point. Going to the specialist there help you kind of work out the skills that you didn't even know you had, that you had developed
Right.
through athletics and your time in the working world as a teacher. So as an individual, sometimes we may not see it ourselves, but those
Correct.
people are trained and they can help you figure out the skill set that you have that can translate to other industries. So
Correct.
I think good thing to just be vulnerable and open to receiving
Absolutely.
feedback. So,
And the entire time, the only thing on my mind was, I wish I would have done this sooner.
right.
I wish I would have taken advantage of these opportunities 7 years ago when I was still in school. Look, I still may have chosen to go into education, but the fact that I had gone through this process and really exhausted, you know, every opportunity, every avenue out there, and learned a little bit about myself and my skill set and what I bring to the table. You know, I remember thinking that the entire time, man,
I wish.
what was I doing? You know,
Right.
but that's, you know, I'm not beating myself up, but I mean, again, I came from a home where essentially I told you first year college, first year traditional college. So I was thought I'm going to go, I'm going to do well in school, and I'm going to play ball, and I'm going to do well at both of those things. And there's some space in the middle. There's just other aspects of the educational experience that I was unaware of. And if I could go back, you know, that's the one thing I'd take advantage of. And particularly here at the University of Richmond, the environment is just ripe with opportunity, fresh minds, a lot of people in different areas who know a little something about the world. And I just wish I would have, you know, if I can go back, I would have tapped into that a little bit earlier.
Yeah. And they want to help.
And they want to help. They want to help. So, I can attest to that.
Yeah. So any passing words of advice for our student athletes as we wrap this up?
I think a couple things. Number one, you have transferable skills.
Right.
You have skills that the world needs and is screaming for. There's a life you live that I'm telling you, corporate could benefit from, education can benefit from. I can go on all day. Right. So that would be the one. Just feel confident in that. Another one would be, don't wait. Don't be that guy who's, you know, you graduate in May and April, you're thinking, you know, now what am I going to do with my life? Plan ahead, begin to think about it. It's never too early to start thinking about it and having those conversations and going to seek, you know, just going to seek information and knowledge. Like I told you, I did the informational interviews. That was great. I would say take advantage of the opportunities, the internship, the summer internships opportunities.
Right.
You don't have to know exactly what you're doing. You could do something different every summer, but it will benefit you when you finish up because you know, have a better feel of who you are and where you want to go. So that would be for the students. Um, for alumni, guys like me, I would just say, you know, reach out, you know, because my experience was not unique. There were several, you know, there's plenty of guys on the team then and probably now that were in similar situations. You know, all you know is what you know, you
Yeah.
know, which is go to school and practice.
Yeah.
And, you know, so, you know, that would be my word to alumni. Just, hey man, reach out, let us know what's going on. Let us, you know, I'm sure just like there's a way I'm telling students to look for help, there's always ways you can help. You know,
Right.
we don't even think about that, but just I thank the people who chose to do those informational interviews for me. There was no
Right.
pay, there was no fee, there was nothing. They just took the time and said, Career Center said, hey, we got a kid who we think might be a fit for medical sales. Oh, is that right? No problem. Set it up. We'll talk over lunch. And that was it.
Right.
Simple as that. So I would just say, you know, for all the, you know, former spiders out there, stay connected and be involved. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's not always about a donation. You can always give your time and your expertise.
yeah, and the last thing I would say is come see you. So, hey, look, RD, look, we did not have you, sir. We did not have you, man. You would have been so appreciated. So I want to take the time to put that out there to students. Come see you. Come to your office. Come have a conversation with you. And that would be for, again, former spiders as well. Give RD a call and see. He'll guide you and give you a little thoughts of how you can be of assistance and how you can help. Come talk to me. I work with the Spider Media as well. So I do the TV, radio, football games. So if you see me around, former athletes, guys who are playing now, your family, catch me, wave me down. I'm always open to have the conversation. And I actually really enjoy that. Talking football is great. Talking life is even better.
Absolutely. So. Absolutely. Well, this is great, man. I want to say first and foremost, I appreciate you giving up your time to sit and give us your story and how you got to where you are. Thank you so much. And we look forward to hearing even more from how you're doing out in the world later on in life. So thank you, and go Spiders.
Hey man, go Spiders. I appreciate you. I appreciate all you do. And we're gonna continue to help these young Spiders tear it up in this world. So
Hey,
thank you.
indeed, indeed. Have a good one.
You too.